Baltimore Orioles will host the Chicago White Sox tonight, 7:05 Eastern. Kopech going up against Grayson Rodriguez. And of course, the news has been the absence of Félix Bautista, who is now on the IL, a tremendous closer, not only in the American League, but in all of Major League Baseball. Melanie Newman joining us now. She does everything that there is possibly to do on the MASN broadcast covering the O's. And Melanie, thanks for being with us. I hate having to talk about this because Félix Bautista, the Mountain, is such a great guy to watch. Where do you guys go from here?
Yeah, and I mean, I know you've talked with him before, Alana, and just what a top-notch human being in addition to it, which is what makes it so much tougher. But I think the Orioles are actually amazingly in the best spot you could be in to not have him while we still wait to see a little deeper prognosis on what exactly is going on with the UCL, how in-depth that is. And that's the fact that the Orioles have so many high leverage close games all year long. 40 comeback wins doesn't happen if there are big differences here. And so a lot of these guys in the bullpen that have come in, usually before Félix, are going to be pretty well prepped for this. And that includes one of his best friends, Yennier Cano. This is somebody that the Mountain had nicknamed the Rock. These two go hand in hand with each other. There was actually a great article from Jacob Calvin Meyer about the fact that they always drive to the ballpark together. And Cano having to come out for his first save opportunity without Félix available, Félix always controls the music in their car ride, and this time he had to be at a bunch of tests on his arm. So Cano drove in silence. He didn't want to replace his best friend. And he said he wanted to go out and do the best possible impression of Félix that he could, and he did that, picking up his fifth save of the season. I also love, too, it was Bautista bobblehead day. Unfortunately, the first day they were without him, but he was in the dugout, and Cano actually took a Bautista bobble with him to the bullpen, and he sat on the roof of the bullpen the whole time. Outside of Cano, it's actually really encouraging as well. You see guys like Cionel Perez, little fiery lefty. He's come back into the form that they saw him for last year. Others that are looking to be healthy and rejoin, including Tyler Wells, in a bullpen situation as of this year. It almost seems like the Orioles have 10 different starters right now. So a few of those guys will be slotted for relief. We've seen Wells be one of the best Rule 5 pickups you could possibly have in both situations. He's not unfamiliar with that back end of the bullpen. Good numbers so far in his AAA Norfolk rehab stint while he's kind of fixing some things. It's not officially a rehab, but they wanted him to retool some of the stuff that he was bringing to the table, and it looks really promising as of now.
All right, and then you bring up a young prospect that typically has time as a starter in the minors, but so far the appearances have all come out of the bullpen for Hael. Tell me more about him.
Yeah, I mean, again, just a promising young kid. This is somebody who you could see the velocity. I kind of joked he's our Nuke LaLoosh because he's dazzling everybody with 100 plus, but the command was always something he was kind of looking for. And then it seemed when he was able to harness both at the same time, some of the injuries and the soreness started popping up. So this is somebody that General Manager Mike Elias has not ruled out of being a starter in the future, but it's the present moment of what do we need right now and how can we best utilize him? And it is a bullpen role. So now you're talking about a lefty flamethrower. We know how special those are and how hard they are to come by. A Josh Hader-esque type, but the fastball is his biggest tool, and his first stint back with the club looked really good. We asked if he would have a defined role if they were working him low leverage first, just to get used to it. He's only had one big league appearance this year, and it was as the extra man on a doubleheader day with Detroit all the way back in April. And he said he's going to leave that up to manager Brandon Hyde. Wherever he needs him, if it's high leverage, if it's the ninth inning, 3 innings, that's what he's going to do. He's going to have to answer the bell regardless, and he's done a good job.
Yeah, I would say, and that's exactly what you want him to say. Wherever they need me, Skip, I'll do whatever you need me to do. And by the way, if you're going to be compared to Josh Hader, that's a heck of a comparison. Okay, Melanie, do the offensive players, the position players, do they feel a little bit of additional pressure? How are they handling the news?
You know, I think they've done okay so far. They had a team meeting, closed doors, right before the general manager spoke with the rest of us to kind of update us on where Félix was, which as of now is that they're still getting opinions, they're still getting imaging, and it's a great reminder to fans, and I think Tampa Bay is a great example of this. UCL issues are not end-all be-all Tommy John. There's a chance still that if this is minor enough, it's a rehab situation instead, which obviously would be a much more favorable situation. It was odd for Bautista. He had been sitting at about 99 his last 3 outings, and the night that he unfortunately was injured was about 102, which blew us all a little bit away. He had been frequently used. He was on the doorsteps of the Orioles having 50 wins whenever he makes an appearance. He was on the doorsteps 1 pitch away from his 34th save. So they know the reality of this situation, but I've never seen a more close-knit clubhouse in my life. There are no cliques. Everybody genuinely loves each other. And it almost sounds cliche when the guys talk about it. James McCann has been really loud about it, but it's so true. They really do look out for each other every day. The offense knows that it's going to be on their backs now. And you've seen that, actually. The road trip that they just had, taking them through Seattle, San Diego, and Oakland, they were about 3.2 runs per game. This homestand so far, which they'll have 3 more here before they hit the road again to the West Coast, they're up to 6.2 runs per game. So the numbers have started to pick up. The bats are clicking. We've started to see a home run war between Gunnar Henderson and Anthony Santander, which has just been astounding to take in. They said every time one of them hits the other, they say thank you, because it's encouraging them to go out there and get the next. Their goal is 33 home runs for each of them. And I have no doubt right now, between them, Ryan Mountcastle slugging almost 700, facing lefties, just ridiculous numbers. He just snapped a huge on-base streak, but they're going to keep it going.
Yeah, it's good to see them. It's fun to watch this team. And Grayson Rodriguez goes for the Orioles tonight. And he's been a guy that's pitched well as of late, done really well in his last 5 starts. What's been the biggest difference for him, Mel?
He just went back down and refound his confidence. This was a kid, I always equate him to the pitching version of Ryan Mountcastle. He was never challenged in the minor leagues. He had this natural talent that blew everybody else away. And you get to the big leagues and you almost have to relearn how to learn and how to make those adjustments. And that's exactly what he's done. Had that aggression coming back through. I thought it was really interesting to hear from guys like Cole Irvin saying, you know, you take a step back and you realize that you weren't using all of the gas in your tank. So go out there and let it rip. And so for him, going back down to AAA Norfolk, kind of reminding myself of, yeah, this is why I was that #1 pitching prospect. This is why everybody's been watching me. And he's been dialed in. He said he kind of had to step back. He was taking too much of the big picture, walking out in the first inning and saying, I've got to get through 6. And we have to create a game plan for this now, and just doing 3 batters at a time. Just have a closer's mentality. Let's get these first 3 outs and let's build it from there. I know for Ben McDonald, one of our analysts too, he's kind of let him know, hey, 1 run every 3 innings, that's still a quality outing. So let's maybe focus on that. Just take your mind off of letting everything feel so overwhelming at the same time. And he has come back and delivered. And I think what fans don't understand is the numbers were never horrible. I mean, his first 10 outings with the Orioles, 5 of those were really, really good. He just had 5 that weren't. So you take overall 10 out of 15 so far for him, being the numbers that he's had, having a 3.5 ERA coming back. You'll love that all day long.
Absolutely. I think if you're such a highly touted prospect, though, people just assume your entire career is going to be 0.00. Melanie Newman does a great job, of course, covering the Orioles. We always appreciate the education, Mel. Thanks so much.
Oh, and always good to see you.